So welcome to the Shaker Lane School Building Committee meeting, Tuesday, April 4th, 2024. We'll call the meeting to order. The order of business tonight is to approve 3 invoices submitted by Turner, Townsend, and Harry. Has everyone had a chance to review those invoices?
Yep.
Is there any comments or questions?
Nope.
Well, that's easy. So we'll do a roll call vote. Let's see. Michelle?
Yes. Do you want me to make a motion?
I guess we need to
approve it?
we need a motion.
Yeah.
So I need a motion to approve. So
I can do that for you, Steve. Let me see if I do this correctly. I make a motion to approve is it warrants? Invoices?
Yeah.
Invoices for Turner, Townsend, Harry.
I second.
And it's in the amount. We need to know the amount. So
$29,304.
Got it. Thank you. And who seconded that?
That was me, Stacy.
Stacy. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Michelle?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes, Stacy Maris, yes.
Steve?
Steve's yes.
Brian?
Brian Pasquale, yes.
And Kelly?
Kelly, yes.
And Steve Moore, yes. It's unanimous. So now we have the OPM giving us a update on the project.
Thank you, Ryan. Could I share the screen, please?
Yep. Let's see. Steve, can you try that, Mark, and see what if you can do it?
Yep. Here we go. Thank you.
Okay.
So I just wanted to give you guys a brief update and a brief overview of where we are on the project and where we're going to be going in the near future. So this can you all see the slide with the core program process overview? Great. So this is MSBA standard module breakdown of a project from sort of start to finish. So module 1, the preparation, you guys, this is complete. We've gone through all of that. We're currently in module 2, moving on to module 3 and 4. So for the balance of this year into next year, we are here right now getting ready to select an architect next week. I think it's 8:30 on the 9th. That's part of the forming the team. You hired us. We're going to hire the architect. Then we're going to move into the feasibility study piece. And then we're going to move into the schematic design piece. And that's all of 20 to 24 months, probably at the end of next year when we're done with that. This 3 to 4 months of funding the project kind of overlaps a little bit. That doesn't take as long once you get a preferred schematic design. And then once you're done with module 5, you move into the finishing the design, building the building, completing the project, etc. So these dates and sort of months reflect what was in the original RFS. Maybe off a little bit, but it's pretty much right where we initially started the project. So by the end of June or so of 2029, the project should be complete and ready to start that school year. So let me open up one more. So that was the overview. This is our schedule, that we put together. And once we get the architect on board and the contract is all set up, we will be providing the committee with a monthly project update. So we'll have information on what the status of the project is, the schedule, the budget, all that information is going to come out monthly with you guys for a set meeting that we talk about. This just gives a little bit more detail of where we are. Right here, sort of line 20, the interviews are coming up on the 9th. Then we take a week or so to negotiate and execute the contract with the architect. So that gets into the second or third week of April, towards the end of the month to get it approved. then you all have to get together and execute the contract with the architect, which would be around that same time, the 24th or the 30th of the month. Once that starts, then we get into a lot of work. Then the work really begins. Once we start feasibility, there's a whole breakdown of each one of these modules, 3.1 and 3.2. Preliminary design PDP, we get into the educational planning, we get into the interviews with the staff and the students and the community, and there's a whole binder that needs to be put together for about 3 months of time to work with SBA. That PDP, that preliminary design program, will be developed and will go to about the middle of July. And then based on that information, the architect will start putting options together for schematic design. Typically, there's 3 options that we look at: renovation, renovation addition, new construction. And we work with them collectively for the next 6 months towards the end of the year to come up with a preferred schematic design that'll be submitted to the MSBA for approval. So,
Hey, Mark,
yes, sir.
got a question on the PDP.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way you can give us a little bit of an update or a heads up on, who needs to be involved in that and what kind of a schedule you're looking at for interviews and whatnot to give Michelle
Absolutely.
and her team and, the school department?
Absolutely. We'll be developing that once we start negotiating with the preferred architect, and
All right.
we'll share that as early as possible, because again, that's when a lot of the work is going to begin at that point when we get the PDP together. So Michelle, we'll make sure that we coordinate and we get all that information together with the architect to go down that path to make sure that we've got all of that covered. So then once we get into the PSR, once that is completed, then the board of directors has to make an approval to the option that you all select. Then they vote to move on to schematic design, which we've got broken out here down to the project closeout. So these module 2, 3, and module 4 are what we're going to be, 3.1 and 3.2 to the end of this year is what the focus is going to be, of getting the planning together educationally, getting the options looked at, getting the reports. And there's a lot of work that gets put together, putting the reports together. And then we submit all that with the MSBA meeting their deadlines. And then hopefully the preferred schematic design is selected, and we move on to full schematic design.
So Mark, you said the board of directors, is that the MSBA board?
Correct. Yep. The MSBA has to approve the PDP, and the MSBA board has to approve the PSR. So those dates will be given to you well in advance once we get the full schedule set up, aligned with what the architect has, because the architect's going to be doing a lot of this work as well when they're setting up the educational planning, the options, the preliminary design, etc., when they put all that all together. So I think I mentioned this to Ryan before. We all should start thinking now of having regularly scheduled meetings based on your schedule, once a month, once every few weeks, however, probably once a month to start now, towards the middle of July, towards the end of the year, because we'll be updating. A lot of stuff is going to be going on once we get into PDP and PSR. So that's a quick update of where we are. So next, what is it? Next, the 9th, next Tuesday, I think it's 8:30. The interviews take place with Feingold Alexander and Studio G. There will be a preferred architect selected that day. Once that happens, then we go into negotiations with them for our contract, and then we dive into the PDP and we get going.
What was the date of that interview, Mark?
The interview for the architects is Tuesday the 9th at 8:30.
Next Tuesday. Okay.
Next Tuesday, yeah, next Tuesday. It's coming right up. Next
Yeah.
Tuesday morning at 8:30, I believe. I don't know if the invitation's gone out yet, but I know the email went out confirming it. I'm sure towards the end of this week, Robin will send out the link.
Yeah, I haven't seen the invitation yet, Mark, but
I haven't either. I was going to ask. I'm glad you have, Mark.
Yeah, so when she sent that email out last time, I think it's the same as before. We have to register. And I think if you're registered, then I think probably Friday she'll send out the link to everybody probably tomorrow. And
okay.
we'll reach out to her and say what's going on. But they usually do that. They'll send it out Friday, and we'll have the link for Tuesday morning.
Mhm.
And that's a good hour plus You know, the interview, I think the architects get 30 minutes each. Actually, it's more than an hour. And then there's comments and questions and answers. And you all looked at the Q&A and you sent in the questions, and then Ryan had some good questions added. We did confirm that they'll allow Q&A at the end of each architect's presentation. So any additional questions outside of the 5 that you reviewed and sent back to the MSBA, you're welcome to ask at that point of the interview. So, you know, feel free when you're listening to the interview, if you have any questions for the firms, please feel free to ask.
And this is a virtual meeting?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So that's a quick update. If there's any other questions, that's all we have for tonight.
Mark, can I just ask you for those 5 questions? Who's representing those questions? Is it someone from our committee, or is it MSBA that's going to be proceeding with those?
Yeah, it was 5 standard questions that they send out for the district, the design panel subcommittee, which I think was Ryan, Kelly, and Michelle. So they were at the initial meeting that we had the week prior when they were ranking them, but they didn't need to rank because there's only 2 firms. So they agreed to just interview the 2 firms, and that's the date on the 9th. I'll be happy to share the questions with you. They're pretty standard that they ask architects to address, and they like to give it to them a couple weeks in advance so they're prepared to answer. Ryan came up with a couple of really good questions on top of that. Wasn't able to get it in on the deadline, but you're able to ask any question at the interview. So once they're done, there's a Q&A section. So, you know, people feel free. These meetings are open to the public. Anybody can come. And if you want to come, you do need to register with it's a very simple form to register with the MSBA. Then they send you the link. So if you guys want to join the meeting, anybody wants to listen in, you're welcome to, outside of the 3 that have to be there.
Mark, when that, maybe just as because you'll probably remember this better than I will, maybe just send the invitation out to the committee, and then if they,
Absolutely. Yep.
or then if they want to attend, they could do that.
Absolutely. Yep.
And Michelle, I believe you were standing in for me at the last the MSBA. So is this Tuesday meeting is for me to attend? Is that right, Ryan?
I think at this point, the entire committee arguably could come and ask those questions, because it's the request that we passed along and that they agreed to was to say, our request was, could you please interview them? We'd like to see, to see how they respond to the questions that you ask. And I think as Mark pointed out, we had some other questions that we tried to add. Not sure if they'll be incorporated or not. So I think at this point, it's, we don't necessarily have to have representatives there, but I think people who are curious about the pluses and minuses of each applicant, we should they should come along. But ultimately, Mark, I think it's still the MSBA's decision, correct?
It is the MSBA's final ranking is with them, correct? But they will take your comments and just like they did on the meeting on the 26th. They want to hear from you. They want to hear your opinion. They want to understand where you guys are coming from. The formal presentations are coming up now. There are questions formally that have been asked. The other questions that you asked, Ryan, did not make it in on time, but you can answer them. You can ask them at the Q&A section when the interviews are over by each firm. So
yeah, I'll plan on doing that. So
Mark, I think it's important that we have as much representation as possible to show our level of interest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. Mark, a point of clarification. Anybody from the committee can ask questions, but when it comes to giving input on selecting a firm, it would be the 3 of us. Is that correct? Or can the other members weigh in on that as well?
It's only the 3 of you that can vote. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, you were the selected subcommittee of people that went to the meeting on the 26th. So you're the only ones that can vote. So you do get a vote, but it's you against 16. There's 3 of you against 16 other people on the panel. Let me make a clarification.
Yeah, Mark, this is Chuck. I think they only allow the 3 representatives of the town that are sitting at the DSP that day to ask the questions. It's not an open forum.
Okay. All right, so the three of you that are on the subcommittee are the only ones that can ask the question. So Stacy, if you have a question, you want to maybe let Ryan or Michelle or Kelly know, and they can certainly bring that question up for you. And also, back in feasibility, the PDP is not the board of directors that approves that. That's a panel. That's an actual MSBA panel, not the directors. But the board of directors do approve the PSR. So I misspoke there. It's the PDP is just there is a subcommittee just like the DSP committee, but the PSR is definitely voted by the board of directors.
And for another point of clarification, because I just want to make sure that I'm prepared for that meeting. So the committee that is voting, the 3 people, that was the Shaker Lane Design Subcommittee,
Correct.
right? Okay, which is Kelly,
Ryan and Stacy.
Ryan. Okay, all right. Just
Oh,
wanted
no, Kelly, Ryan, and Michelle. Sorry. Kelly, Ryan, and
Yes.
Michelle.
Was it Michelle or was Michelle sitting in for me on that day? Sorry if I don't remember. I thought I was on that subcommittee, but I don't. There's so many.
I think I have to check the minutes from the last from that meeting, Stacey. That's a good question. It's one of the 2 of you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, it does not have to be, for clarification, it does not have to be anybody that sat on your local selection committee. You can
Okay.
point to other people. So whoever the 3 names that were sent in, those are the names that are going to sit with the DSP that day.
Yeah. So Ryan, Stacy is right. She had a commitment, so I stepped in.
Okay.
And I'm
Okay.
happy to just continue on for Tuesday.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Okay, any other questions?
Mhm.
Then we'll move on to member input. Anything?
Just Mark, you had mentioned monthly meetings. Maybe we can, I don't know when our next meeting was, or I don't know if we want to talk about it tonight, but if we could just start to think about what night so that we can all kind of keep that night open for the future would be great.
Good point. Well, I think I think we would choose the night, and then Mark and company would hopefully be available.
We'd
Yes.
accommodate.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Just
does
a
Thursday night
comment,
at 6:30 work?
This is Kelly, sorry. In terms of the PDPs, I'm looking at the timeline here, and I mean, the quicker we have a process, the better off we'll be. Administrators, staff, by the time school is out, and we're out early this year in June, it's going to be hard to find people to do the process. So I would just like to put that out there. My administrative team usually is off the first week of July. So there's going to be some tight timelines there. It's kind of a bad time of the year to be trying to finish this out. I understand that's a time frame that we need to adhere to, but if it was during the regular school year, it would certainly be much easier to get people together.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Kelly. This is an unfortunate timing, and we'll have to look at adjusting the schedule to make sure, because the first phase of this, the PDP, involves the educational program, which is a huge part of this, obviously, and that comes from your office. It comes from the school department working with the educational planner, as well as some visioning meetings with a visioning facilitator. So, yeah, we're going to have to look at that when the architect gets hired and look at that schedule and say, hey, what best fits, so we can make sure we get the involvement from the school department. That's a big deal. There's a lot of other work that can be done during that period of time. Other than that, like, we have to spend a lot of time with the architect walking through the buildings and doing an evaluation of the buildings. So we can do all that without involvement of the school department and school staff. But I think you're right. We need to make sure that fits with your schedules.
Well, that's why I had suggested we get a template as soon as possible, so we could identify who needs to be involved. Timeline.
The very first thing we're doing with the architect, once the architect's chosen, is we schedule a kickoff meeting between them and the MSBA and with you all. and we sit and we go through that exact thing. We develop a schedule and a plan on how they're going to work over the next period of time and create the next period of months, because the MSBA has to know what that schedule is so they can make their review staff available as well. So the schedule can be driven by us at all times, by you, I mean. So that's fine. That's absolutely the first thing we're going to do as soon as the architect's hired.
The one thing I wanted to add, Matt, I know Kelly, definitely concerned with the summer months, but I feel like the staff in the community and the families are so invested. If we get them these dates and these timelines, I do think we'd have a good turnout, even with the summer months. I think if we get it to them ahead of time, but I agree with Kelly, there's going to be some conflicts, but I do know that there is a wide investment from our community.
And Michelle, just a comment to that. I agree with you. I agree with you, but you know, we have to also consider that families make plans far in advance for summer vacations. And, you know, as the superintendent of the district, I want to make sure that our public feels that they've had an opportunity to be engaged and not derailed as a result of not being able to attend because of summer vacations, et cetera. So again, we'll make it work, but once you hit July, it's very hard to meet everybody's needs.
Yep. Any other questions for the consultant? Member input, anything? I think I went down that road already.
Yeah, just
Is there a
one thing,
motion to adjourn?
Oh, Steve, just one thing. I don't want to hold up the meeting, but we've been trying to get together to work with the individual that is going to create some videos for the project to communicate to our public. It's been very difficult finding times to get together. So, Mark, I was wondering, maybe for the first one, it's pretty well general information about where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. And what you showed tonight, I think, would certainly be sufficient to work with this gentleman and myself. So even if we get the three of us together sometime,
Sure.
Be great to have that conversation.
Absolutely. I mean, this is recorded tonight. I mean, I don't know if they could use information from this and patch something together, but I just, when you mentioned this and the dates that are coming up that I wasn't available, I mean, I need to understand the scope and what we need to do to prepare for this. So they wanted to meet tomorrow morning at 9:30. I have a conflict, but I can meet at noon. I can meet at 12:30. I can meet in the afternoon. There's other times that I can meet, but as Dorothy kept sending times back and forth, they conflicted with certain things. And so if you want to get together with just the three of us, I'll be happy to carve out time, you know?
Yeah.
And let us know too, there's others that can step in should you need it, that have been through, we've been through the process enough times that any one of us could recite where we're sitting now and where we're headed. So you let us know when it's convenient. And
perfect. And it certainly wasn't just Mark. You know, we're all busy. And I think three of us together would make much more sense to try to get this thing done. So
no, I think it's a great idea, and I kept feeling badly that every time she asked a date, it didn't seem to work. But yeah, however you want to try to do it, I can certainly carve out time. And if it's going to be a Zoom meeting, you want us up there in person, you know, just let us know. I am going on vacation April 15th, you know, spring vacation there, the 15th to the 20th or whatever. So I'm not available that week, but next week, if there's times I could try to carve it out.
Sure. And if not, we'll do the week after vacation, and it shouldn't take us that long to give him the information that he needs to do that first pillar of the video anyway for us. So,
okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mark, since it seems like there's a lot of people involved, obviously, in this project. Do you use any type of like software or platform to try to find common times for people to meet? Like I've used Doodle before, which is just like, it's a free thing where you send a link and people just say like dates that I can go.
We can certainly do that. This wasn't our meeting. This was a video meeting that the district wanted to put together and include us to talk about the project and everything. And matter of fact, that gentleman I think you hired mentioned that, or Michelle mentioned that. Can we do a doodle poll or something? But yeah, it's, you know how it's like herding cats. Like we all, you know, three people can make it and then two can't, and two can make it and then the other three can't. It was crazy. But yeah, I would think a doodle poll would do it or unless Kelly wants to get together, just three of us or someone else in my place from our company can be there. however it needs to work out. I know you want to present something in May's town meeting. You want to put something together before that, and it's April 22nd when we get back, and I'm wide open right now for anything after the 22nd, but let us know, and if I can't make it, I'll work with Chuck and Matt and Suresh or somebody that can fill in and provide the information that you guys are looking for the video.
That's great. Thank you.
That would be good. We can have maybe a standard process for this group. I don't know if that's something, since Dorothy usually does the scheduling, if that can just be her tool to use for us. I just feel like that might be a little bit helpful to have with all of our scheduling and time constraints. So
It makes sense.
Yeah, I think, Stacy, what we really need to do is create some meetings well in advance. I think most of us, our calendars are filled up 2 weeks in advance. So the sooner we can find a consistent time for a meeting once every 2 weeks or once a month, I think that's going to make everybody's life much easier.
Agreed. Yeah. All right. Member input, we'll do roll call vote. Steve?
I have nothing.
Stacy?
no, I'm good.
Brian?
Also, thank you, Steve.
Kelly?
I'm good, thanks.
Ryan?
I'm fine, thanks.
And I'm good. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. I guess the next meeting will be TBD, and that'll be after the MSBA interviews, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll do it away as introducing the firm to you all. So.
Terrific.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Hey,
thanks,
Steve Moore.
everyone.
Steve Moore, would you mind just hanging on the call just a little bit? There's just one separate thing I wanted to touch base with you on.
With who?
With you, Steve Moore.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
All right, enjoy the shoveling. See you.
Yep, have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.